I am still irrationally angry. Welcome back to the Talking Average Fitness Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Sam Burns. I'm joined as always by my friend, my partner in Dad Bod Fitness, Mr. Kevin McCarthy. Kevin, how are you today, sir?
I am doing lovely, Sir Sam.
Yeah.
Just living the dream,
Hmm.
saving the world one
Yep.
BLS call at a time. Um,
BLS.
Basic life support. It's
Base.
EMT.
Yep.
Advanced life support as a paramedic.
Ah,
Um, so yeah, basically what there's like is for BLS is like if you are in a situation where like it could progress to something,
right.
then like we can go. If you're like it's really no longer a game anymore, then like a paramedic should go because they can give medications and do procedures and like intubate patients and all that fun
Sure.
stuff. So like if you are in that process and it's no longer a game, then
Yep.
dispatch. And so then you have to let dispatch know, be like, hey, we're here, shit's real.
Not a basic call. Not a basic call.
uh, it's yeah. I mean, we can do things and we can like help stabilize the patient, hopefully until either we can
Yep.
get them to a hospital or
Mm.
a paramedic can show up, whichever one is easier. So like if we
Sure.
let dispatch know, I've been in a few calls where you radio dispatch, we're like, hey, we're going to request ALS for protocol of like, whatever the protocol is, whether it be
Sure.
like for altered mental, for, severe hypertension, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um, hey, per protocol, this is the issue. I'm
Yep.
requesting ALS support. And they're like, sick. This hospital's your closest. And you're like, awesome.
Good luck.
Yeah, they're basically like, all right, good luck. Like, get package and
Fuck.
transporting as soon as possible. You're like, okay. Those are the ones where my brother Adam was like, you load quick, drive fast, cry a lot. That's those types of calls.
Load quick, drive fast, cry a lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not super, super often, but every once in a while you get one of those.
Yeah,
Um, gets your adrenaline kick for the week.
for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I imagine so.
You know what else gave me an adrenaline kick?
I can guess what you're gonna say. What gave you an adrenaline kick, Kev?
Reading it's brand new. It's fresh. It's a steaming pile of horse shit is the new methodology created by none other than the least original coach on earth, Mr. Ben Bergeron.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So let's give people a little bit of background here, right? So we're gonna do a little presentation. We're kind of
yes, please
walk
do.
you through, what
Why
ends
me
up.
and Sam are so angry.
Yes, that's accurate, right? Um, so we're gonna hop over here. All right, so we've got Kevin, as we are wont to do, we constantly send each other things. And so he sends me this link, and the link is for this comp train, a new era,
Mhm.
right? And so I'm not going to play the audio, right? Um, but I'm gonna read a little bit of this. So competition has always been at the heart of CompTrain. It sharpens us, pushes us, reveals what we're capable of. But competing isn't just about measuring yourself. It's also about who you become in the process. So we've evolved. CompTrain is no longer just about training for competition. It's about training to compete, however that looks for you forever. So it is or it isn't about competition. First off, like
I don't know. They're
I
just
don't
words. They're just
I
saying words.
and so then it's like, true competitors don't stop when the season ends. So completing forever? Like
Yeah.
if I
Every day is a competition. Fucking smash yourself every day.
right.
That's what it is, right, Sam? Just if you like, you should die for points when it's you in your garage. I don't know who you're getting points against.
I don't
Me probably,
I
but
don't I don't fucking know.
I
So
don't know.
this welcome to the era of complete training. It's the same fucking thing. They just put an L in there.
Yeah.
So also I haven't read these replies. I want to see this.
Oh, the comment section is amazing.
I bet it is.
Oh, it's so good. It
Yeah.
warmed my heart that like most of the community, or I shouldn't say most of the community, most of the
Hiller
community
tag,
that
Hiller
were
tag.
like that. The amount of Hiller tags. If Hiller had $1 for every time he got tagged in some shit,
I
like
know.
he wouldn't even need a YouTube channel anymore.
Right?
Um, but no, so like it warmed my heart like reading through, and like I didn't do the whole comment section, but like
Sure.
reading through some of the comments, it's
Yeah.
like a lot of people were in agreement where they were like, "The fuck is this?" Like, yeah, the
Yeah,
Spider-Man meme.
like this is so embarrassing. So CrossFit, you know, I
Yeah,
another day, another form of CrossFit with a different name. Like, and
yeah.
so, like some of these people, who the fuck knows, like what their experience is. But so now we can kind of step through this a little bit, right?
Mhm.
So we're gonna this is the document. So like link to this thing in bios. This is what they're talking about. CompTrain complete training, a foundational methodology.
I'm gonna stop right there just because I love that they call it a foundational methodology when like the foundation was, is, and forever will be the CrossFit methodology. It's like that's the foundation that you're anything. So I'm gonna like take just like one little step back. Anything that is in the functional fitness
Yeah.
realm,
Yeah.
right? So any deviance, like variance
Yep.
off of CrossFit,
Yep.
and whether that's strength bias GPP, gymnastics bias, endurance bias GPP, any of those, your quote unquote functional training gyms where
Sure.
like they're essentially doing strength and a Metcon is the
Yep.
model. It all
Yep.
seems to be just strength bias GPP, which strength bias GPP is not CrossFit. I said what I
Sure.
said. Fight
Yep.
me.
Fuck.
Um,
Fuck you if you think it is CrossFit. Like I got a whole bunch of
seriously,
evidence to support the fact that it's not, but that's neither here nor
eh,
there. Please continue.
neither here nor there. Anyways, that's more ranting for my anger. But so it's like it's for anything that exists
Yeah.
in functional fitness
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
the foundation is, was, and always will be the CrossFit methodology as created
Absolutely.
by Greg Glassman.
Absolutely.
And there's been like, it evolves, you learn. We've said this before on a previous podcast, way fucking back towards the beginning of this,
Mm-hmm.
where we mentioned that CrossFit, one of the things that makes it beautiful within the space is that it is an open source experiment. And
Yes.
as soon as someone can contribute something or add something that
Yep.
makes it better, it will very quickly be adopted. As soon as someone finds out that doing backflips on roller skates increases your fitness,
Measurably.
exactly, measurably and quantifiably, then we
Yes.
will start doing those
For
and
sure.
teaching it and executing on it. So like it from 2001 when the very first CrossFit workout ever written to
Fast and heavy.
now,
Yep.
things can look a little bit different. There was more like kind of, the original .com stuff was like do 100 pull-ups and then run a mile, and
Yep.
like that was your workout. And then the next one was do 100 pull-ups again the next day because fucking biceps. and
That's
then
so fucking true.
and then build to a 100 max deadlift.
Yeah.
It was he was experimenting, he was trying it, but like the evolution of things showed how he learned what worked and what didn't. Guess what?
Sure.
I got better results doing 5 rounds of a 400-meter run,
Mm-hmm.
15 pull-ups, 15 deadlifts than doing run 1 mile, do 100 pull-ups,
Yep.
do 100 deadlifts.
Yep.
Like I got better results doing the mixed modal, the 5-round one. So like we're gonna move to that.
Yeah.
So if you start 2001 and go forward, it's not like, oh well, like what he was doing before or what CrossFit was before was wrong. And this, no, no, no. You've set the parameters of the methodology. We
Yep.
do high intensity functional movements. Um, we increase work capacity across broad time and modal domains.
Yes.
The way that you do those things, like again, functional movements as defined by something that can move a large load a long distance quickly.
Mm-hmm.
How we do those things again can be an experiment. Like try something. If you
Sure.
enjoy programming and you want to like, hey, let me try doing this, that, the other.
Yeah.
Like try it, see what happens. Does your fitness improve? So try that, new movement, new style, new format, whatever you want to be for 6 months, and then
Yep.
retest some benchmarks. Did you get fitter?
For sure.
If you did, fantastic.
Yes.
If you did not, then
Be honest about that.
yeah, be honest about it and go back to what works. And the thing is, like the numbers don't lie. Like it.
Sure.
So and that's all of that rambling that I just did goes to just goes to say the
Yes.
passion at which I feel that like even the first line of the new foundational methodology that CompTrain has come up with, that's just the worst use of words that I can think of in that, because it's not a foundational methodology, because the foundation was and always will be CrossFit.
Yeah.
Anything that CompTrain decides to do in their own avenue
Yeah.
is a variant of that. And as
Yeah.
we go through, I don't know, like you took it away. I don't know if we're gonna pull it back up in a sec, but there was a few points in there like it literally just like copy pasted from the L1.
We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. So
Okay.
So coming back to this, like,
Yes.
For people who don't know, they might not know. For people who don't know the history of CompTrain and Ben,
Mhm.
you might not understand why this is a giant fucking dick slap in the face to CrossFit. And so, because the internet remembers, I went back and I found Ben Bergeron's original
Oh my gosh,
Competitors
I remember
WOD
this
blog.
too. Yeah, I
Right?
remember this too. It had like his what's the word I'm looking for? Like his programming template, like how he
Yep.
would lay out a week for like different levels of athlete. If you were like
Uh-huh.
regionals, open games, whatever. Yeah, man, I remember this website. Holy shit!
The internet
So he
remembers.
also went. He opened CrossFit New England when it was like fucking way back in the beginning of, was it like
2010, 2011, something like that.
20, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
So
like Team
somewhere
CrossFit
2010,
New England was world champion 2011. So,
so it had to be before that. So 9, 10, somewhere in that range.
somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah.
So Ben opens CrossFit New England.
Yes.
So it was a CrossFit affiliate from 2009, 10 until now. So well over a decade of being an affiliate.
For sure.
Even though he announced they de-affiliated, he's still technically affiliate until
Yes,
his contract is up. He just changed his Instagram handle.
Yeah.
For anyone that thinks he's just sticking it to the man, de-affiliated, no, he didn't. He's just not going to renew. So you have that. You have that he's been an affiliate for, let's call it 15 years, just guesstimating.
Mhm.
So you've been an affiliate for 15 years. Ben himself has taught CrossFit Level 1 seminars for a large portion of that time.
See, so I know he was grandfathered a level 4.
Not anymore.
Probably. Yeah. So like it used to be, if you passed the old level 2, you were grandfathered into a level 4, which is how, Austin and Denise and Pat Barber are all level 4s, is because they passed the original level 2 that had like an 80% failure rate.
Yeah.
And my understanding is he was grandfathered into level 4. I don't know if he ever actually ran on a seminar. Like, I don't.
I'm 99.9% sure that at least for a stretch of time, Ben taught level 1 seminars. And I think it was like, it might not have been like in the height of level 1 seminars where like you had to go through a rigorous internship process and like, be vetted against this, that, and the other to get on staff and earn your red shirt, like it, in the mid 2010s, onwards. It might have been during that time that, like, because they had people like Rich was on seminar staff, Jason Khalipa was on seminar staff. Like, they kind of just like got some of the OGs, some of the, people that had been around the methodology for a while, on staff, to teach courses. And then again, as it evolves and they kind of restructure their education process, some of those people then left. But it's like, I mean, Rich was on seminar staff, and I mean, nothing against Rich, not that he's like not a good coach, but it's like there's levels to this game.
Sure, and we're losing the plot a little bit here.
We're losing the plot. Anyways, I think there was a time, I'm 99.9% sure that Ben was teaching level 1s.
All right. So to answer your question about how long they've been affiliated, this is the CrossFit page for CrossFit New England. 17 years. Oh yeah, because they're still an affiliate.
I know. I'm poking fun at the fact they didn't actually de-affiliate it.
No. They're licensee of record. It's still Ben Bergeron. It doesn't say level 4 anymore. It says level 1. So maybe they lapsed it. Who the fuck knows? So we're back to this. So the point is, after opening CFNE, CrossFit New England, Ben decided to start writing programming for competitors, right? He did this from 2012 to 2014, right? And you can go here, right? He talks about the three-headed monster. Anyone who's read anything about CompTrain knows what he means when he says three-headed monster: strength, skills, and conditioning. Sounds an awful lot like weightlifting, gymnastics, and aerobic capacity. Like,
come
on,
same but different. Same but different.
It is, and
if you pull out a thesaurus,
sure. And for him, it's like being able to. He's coming at this from like a competitor process, right? So like, it is the sport of fitness, right? You should be able to do like this is something I've loved about him. The average 2013 games athlete has the following numbers: a 259 to 153 snatch, male and female respectively; clean and jerk 319 187; back squat 434 247; deadlift north of 500, north of 300. So like those are big numbers. And like one of the things I always respected about Ben was like he said very clearly, if you don't have certain numbers, you don't get to play, and it's that simple. Skills, doesn't matter how strong you are, blah, blah, blah. If you can't do big sets of muscle ups, handstand push-ups, pistols, double unders, butterfly pull-ups, handstand walking, you can't do high still stuff, you can't play, right? So this is Ben Bergeron, competitor WOD. So he ran this for 2 years, and then at the end, hey, come over and come to CompTrain. So competitors training. That's what CompTrain has always stood for: elite physical preparedness. Not general physical preparedness, elite physical preparedness. So now we've got a guy who made his bones on defining competition for many years and was very good at it, right?
He was the forefront for the longest time. Like
absolutely,
like now it's mayhem. Anyone that wants to be a competitor, they usually dip their toe in the mayhem pond at least once. But that used to be Bergeron and CrossFit New England. It was like, if you wanted to be worth anything in the sport of CrossFit, like you hit up Ben, even if it was just for like some advice, or like, I'm moving to Massachusetts to train at CFNE with all the homies.
Right. So you pull a Katrin. I'm gonna go live at Ben and Heather's house.
Yeah. Like I'm gonna go. And so and that existed before the Reebok gym existed, when like a handful of those guys would like all throw down there, and they would do like their what was it, training grounds or proving grounds or something like that. They did like a training. They did like a training camp for all the regionals and games guys that were that wanted to do it. Anyways, it's like Ben was the forefront of those things, and he, like you said, like he made his living, his reputation, his everything
on the back
on the back of CrossFit, as a sport, but also again, like owning an affiliate. Like you're still doing the GPP thing where you're like, so he's been heavily intertwined in CrossFit for 17 years.
Well, and not just heavily intertwined, very successful, obviously, right?
Yes.
But he's never had a problem saying, hey, CFNE and CompTrain as an approach is built for competitors, right?
Yep.
So now, here's where I make some accusations, right? So I have some firsthand experience with this.
Okay.
I worked for CompTrain for a window of time on the affiliate programming side.
Yes.
My job was to write lesson plans every week for all of the workouts, and then send those lesson plans out to 891 affiliates, by such and such a time every single week. So what I saw was behind the curtain on what was their programming, Where did they come up with things? Did they, have a template for things? And the answer is affiliate programming at CFNE. And if you had CompTrain affiliate programming, was, period, full stop, the same as their competitor programming.
Yeah, it was just the main piece.
It was, it was like the main one or two pieces, right? It was the exact same thing. There was no allowance made for loading variation or skill variation. There was nothing made for, no allowance made for what
like appropriate volume.
Yeah, like
because there is a difference between like appropriate volume for an affiliate member versus like semifinals or games competitor.
And we've talked about GPP versus competition. So like all of the root of their GPP programming is competitor programming, right? Yes. And so right away, in terms of goal and intention, you have a conflict, right?
Yep.
CrossFit has always been about, hey, we should be doing general physical preparedness. And then later on, when we couldn't stop ourselves from like setting a clock and racing each other, it was like, okay, well, now we have a sport too,
And all of a sudden Rich Froning exists and goes, you know what? I bet I can get fitter than all these fuckers if I just work out twice a day.
Right.
And then he goes and wins the games, and everyone's like, well, if I want to be as fit as Rich, I should work out twice a day. And Rich goes, watch this, I'll work out 3 times a day.
Right.
And they're like, well, let's work out 3 times a day. Rich goes, watch this, work out 4 times a day. Like it just, and then here we
Sure. And so
and then here we are. But yes.
So that is the root of it. And then we'd have to do some things like, for example, CompTrain, it probably still is in the competitor world, 3 on 1 off, 2 on 1 off, right? So when we got the programming, we wouldn't have a Thursday or a Sunday workout. We had to write one. We'd also have to figure out a way to fucking shoehorn whatever the fuck they were doing into a 60-minute class window and then give people intentions. And what ends up coming out of this
coaching and
exactly. And like, my boss at the time was Denise Thomas, because she was the she was the then head of affiliate programming. We had a hard time because the programming we were handed was built for competitors. Exactly.
Well, so the hard thing, at least in my mind, is like, okay, so you don't have a Thursday or Sunday workout because most competitor or not even a competitor, but like individual programs, competitor, GPP or otherwise, follow that 3 on 1 off, 2 on 1 off cycle because it just fits nice and pretty with the week, Thursday, Sunday, rest day. But if you're running an affiliate, people have different life schedules. You're open 7 days a week usually. And even if it's for adjusted hours on the weekends, whatever, like it's, you're open 7 days a week. You need a workout for Thursday and Sunday for those members that need to come in and work those days. Like it's, like prior to my schedule on the ambulance changing, like Sundays was a training day for me because like it was just a day that like I worked, the days that I worked, it just made it like that's just one of my training days is Sunday. So that would have been me going into an affiliate. So, but when you have a program that is got Thursday, Sunday programmed as rest days, the way that it's structured, the way that it's built and laid out is so that like you're basically checking all the boxes on
in those 5 days.
Tuesday, in those 5 days. So you've checked all the boxes of, or all the boxes, most of the boxes. Let's say you've checked most of the boxes for time domains, movement patterns, loading ranges, volume ranges. Pain ranges, etc. Metabolic pathways, the whole thing. So you've checked most of the boxes. With your, 1 to 2 that they just plugged into affiliate. But then, like, if you look at that, further down the competitor track, that the other 1 to 5 that existed on that day. It's designed in a way where you checked all the boxes so that you can have that Thursday and Sunday as rest and not be like missing something.
Sure.
So then when you're Sam and Denise and you're looking at the week and you have to program Thursday and you go, fuck me sideways, what the hell do I put here? Because I've done something. Like if I want to go below parallel, guess what? We did that Wednesday and we're going to do it again Friday. And like,
so I'm going to complicate your life.
Oh, God.
They had a movement template for every week, which means every single week, Monday was a lower body pull, snatch, clean, deadlift.
Oh,
Tuesday
let's see, this is even worse.
Tuesday was a squat day. And like it was the same every single week. It never changed. So that meant I remember one of the things we talked about is like they always snatched on Friday. It was, and I have heard comments from people.
Snatch muscle up, baby.
Yeah, well, so not just that. So like maybe muscle up, but like also like a severe dearth of like high skill gymnastics.
Yeah.
But then
that was what I was getting at. That was the joke. Sorry.
Yeah. People would,
I know.
And people would be pissed. They were like, I swear to God, if I have to coach another snatch or a hang snatch on a Friday, I'm going to shoot myself, you know?
Yeah.
And so all of this is to say, like, it was never built for affiliates. CompTrain was never built for affiliates. And we've had many discussions with many smart people who have been doing this longer than Ben has. And they've told us outright that there is a vast difference over a long enough time scale between those seeking general physical preparedness and those seeking competitive dominance, right?
Yeah.
And so you cannot apply competitor loading and volume to someone for, I mean, what's the ceiling? 10 years? Like more than 10 years, you will get too injured, right? So now we're 17 years in, right? To, you know, call it, let's assume he started CompTrain around 2012, a little over 10 years, 13 years into that whole experiment. And so now they are like, well, CrossFit's got its thumb up its ass. We've got to find a way to differentiate ourselves, right?
HQ has its thumb up its ass.
Yes.
Let's clarify here. HQ has its thumb up its ass as they try and figure things out. I was talking with Horenstein on Monday because I had to, just with work schedule and baby schedule and everything. You know, the open workout gets announced, and I'm like, well, just burpees forever. The walking lunge can just go fuck itself.
Right.
Anyways, I liked the workout at the end of it. I was like, good workout. The dumbbell was more of a presence than I thought it would be, but it still wasn't a massive like the burpee was the issue. But it's like just I had to drop into CrossFit One Nation to do the open workout on Monday because I just couldn't get to it over the weekend. And was just chatting with Horenstein after I've sold my soul. And we were just talking about the state of things. And basically the thing that we just came to like an agreement on is that like as a coach, as an athlete, as someone in the CrossFit space, it'll never be difficult to defend the methodology.
Sure.
That's something I'll never have an issue doing. Like argue with me up, down, sideways, backwards, whatever about different training methods. And we can have a good discussion about it. I will always defend CrossFit methodology as being effective in what we're trying to do. But it's getting harder and harder to defend HQ, both from a just operation standpoint, but then also like a competition standpoint. I mean, they've changed the rule book and they've changed the format of the competition season every year since 2019.
I know.
Or since the 2018 games, I should say. Once the games were over in 2019, that was it. It was like your open sanctionals games, and then it was two opens because 2020 is going to change the sanctional schedule. So the schedule changed for sanctionals and it was different. And then 2021 we added quarterfinals, but also still sanctionals. And then 2022 we brought back semifinals, but there's quarterfinals. And amongst there was 17 different fucking handstand push-up standards. Because no one could figure out how to like make it idiot proof. I don't it's just
they're trying to figure out a rule that works around the natural tendency of people to avoid doing work.
So there's that, but it's like the thing that was amazing. I saw a meme about this on Instagram. I should have sent it to you because I fucking laughed hysterically. It was a picture of, oh gosh, like someone like either oh no, it was the picture. I forget what movie this is from, but it's like where he's got the wall with all the strings and
Yep.
tacks going everywhere. And he's just like, hear me out. Like, you know the meme I'm talking about?
Yeah,
So
it's
that one.
from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Okay. So it's that meme, but it was like coaches and athletes coming up with like movement efficiency videos for jumping over a fucking dumbbell. And I was like, because that was a big thing, was like the efficiency tips and everything for the open. And like, here's how you can move a little bit quicker and maybe shave some time. And it's like, what do you come up with? It's like the movement standards should be something where like, again, it's black and white. It's idiot proof. The thing is, like,
Yes.
Hitler can still make fun of it because Guy was caught fucking in 4K stepping over the dumbbell instead of jumping over the dumbbell.
Right.
Um, he did like it was a step, but he kind of like shimmied his hips so it
I
looked like he
know.
hopped. It was a
Yeah.
weird. I'm sure you've seen it. Um, but it's like, and so Hitler's like, bring back the 2 foot standard. I was like, again, that just makes a whole bunch. Like the standard should be just. It was fine as it was. Jump, and your feet have to pass
So
over the dumbbell.
so I love you, but again, we're losing the plot.
Okay, sorry.
No,
I just
you're
too many things I get jazzed about.
your emotion ranting about the state of the competition.
Everything.
And I
Yeah, sorry.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'm here for it.
No, my point beforehand was that like it's get it like it's you'll always defend the methodology. It's harder
Yes.
to, or at least that's how I started this rant, was it's hard to defend HQ because you were saying HQ has its thumb up its ass.
It does. And
Yes.
and so what we end up with is now a complete training of foundational methodology, right? So
Yes.
3 simple tenets of complete fitness: strength, application, speed, and power, right? Okay, cool.
Sure.
Impact on longevity: higher lean body mass lowers risk of metabolic disease 82%. Sure, cool. Conditioning,
Sure.
output, and recoverability. Yeah, probably work output, like cardio rest. So
The word they're looking for is capacity.
Capacity. Yeah, like, and
That's the word they're looking for.
I get what they're saying, but they're conflating conditioning in terms of cardiorespiratory fitness and work capacity. And I don't know that necessarily you can conflate those two, but that's neither here nor there, right? And then finally, functional range of motion.
So here's the fun thing about that. So like, because this is immediately where my brain went to just with exercise science stuff, is they're like functional range of motion. I'm like, well, any range of motion is functional because you can perform a function. Like
Yes and
even
no.
if you can't.
Yes and no. So I would define functional range of motion as the difference between flexibility and mobility.
So what they're getting at is like basically like, are you strong through like a full range of motion about a joint, which is one of the core portions of the the level 1 and anyways no, my joke was that like if some, like for example, if someone can't squat below parallel, or whether you want to say can't at the moment or just can't because of like some sort of bone issue, right? They can't get below parallel. Like above parallel is now their functional range of motion. Like that is the range of motion in which they are functional.
Which is limited functional range of motion.
Exactly, but it's still their functional range of motion. I made a joke of it in my head. It was a lot funnier in my head. It's funnier to me. Shut up.
Okay. So I love this. Visualizing complete fitness, right? Okay, so sure.
Yeah.
Venn diagrams. Yeah, let's be balanced. You want to be he or she is fittest who is most balanced across as many skills drills as possible, right? If you fucking pay attention to your level 1, that should sound familiar, which I think is the argument that's being made here. But then we have,
I love this.
I know.
I love it.
Focusing on only one athletic domains creates imbalances and limitations. All right. So a power lifter, a yogi, and a runner or cyclist, right? So specialists, right?
Yes.
Specialists, turns out, aren't balanced across different, would we say, modal domains, perhaps?
Yeah. I mean,
multi-sport generalist is a complete okay, right. I think you're missing something over here in terms of
I love the thing that say like that they're trying so hard not to use the words, but say this. They're like a multi-sport generalist. Ah.
Fuck, it's painful. So then
Oh,
this one is my fucking favorite. The evolution of complete
yeah.
training. Okay.
Oh my God. Yep, this one sent me. Hunted my
CrossFit,
phone out the ambulance
I
window.
know, revolutionized functional fitness, but the evolution of training requires more. So I think the most accurate way to read this is if we remember that complete training is comp train, we can read this as the evolution of comp train, right?
Yes.
Which then it becomes a little bit more accurate, right? So CrossFit challenge traditional methods. Yes. In theory, the foundations of CrossFit are sound teaching and provide a program that could develop complete fitness if applied correctly. Sure. I agree with that statement.
Yep. Agreed.
Where CrossFit got off track was in the practice of its principles. Misapplication led to imbalanced training, with athletes biased towards strength and anaerobic capacity. That is a partially accurate and very broad statement, right?
But by definition of that, whatever, when he says the application of the process, like CrossFit is biased towards strength and whatever, then that's not CrossFit as prescribed by the methodology. That's just strength bias GPP.
Exactly. Now, that doesn't mean that isn't how CrossFit is practiced in a majority of affiliates in America. Let's call it a majority. If you're doing strength metcon, which is the most popular method in America, yeah, you're doing it wrong.
Let's call it most. Yes.
Yes. So, traditional CrossFit, which is not traditional CrossFit, we should call this populist CrossFit. This is how it's done in gyms that don't understand the CrossFit methodology. Lacks structure, constant variance, and daily workouts. Okay, so no. And I don't feel the need to
just no. Like
just no.
The thing is if we're calling it the populist CrossFit, say it lacks structure, it's actually got too much structure because people try and do fucking strength cycles.
The same thing all the time.
They're like, well, Monday's a squat day, Wednesday's a bench day, Friday's a deadlift. I'm just making it up, but like Friday's a deadlift day. Like that's too much structure. That's not enough variance. That's not like it's
not to mention their own text here, constant variance and random daily workouts. Okay, well, are they varied or random? Because they're two fucking different things.
Because constant variance and random workouts, those aren't in the same.
They're not the same
sentence.
thing.
Variance does not mean random. If you've sat down with anyone that's worth their salt in programming, and you've watched them program a week,
for sure.
Like that's a process. You're not just chucking stuff up, just chucking it on the board. Nah, fucking whatever. If you want to apply things properly,
yes.
Now, to be fair, like some people are like, let's just get this done. For me, if I'm like, it's end of the day, I'm off a 12-hour shift, like I have 30 minutes to work out, like I'm just gonna put something together that's gonna allow me to move and move the needle on my fitness. And is it perfect? No, but it gets the job done.
But I bet you don't look at your program and be like, I know I deadlifted Monday. Fuck it, let's deadlift again. Like you still go for a little bit of variance.
Oh yeah, like I know what I've done. Like basically, I look back at because it's all on my whiteboard, right? That I have in my basement. It's like, okay, what did I do the last 3 days? Let me do different movement patterns in different time domains. Let me try and vary those things as best I can. Again, given the parameters of my basement, it has a 6-foot ceiling and I can't do anything overhead. And the time constraints that I have on my life, but it's like things sometimes make it so again, and I will fully that is the CrossFit methodology implemented imperfectly, for sure. But we also know this that CrossFit implemented poorly is still wildly effective.
Sure.
So
it's varied or random. Fucking pick. Sport specific. Improve niche movements like Olympic lifting and gymnastics.
It's not sport specific by design.
So how about this? If you're doing both, how can it be niche? Like if you're spending time developing gymnastics and you're spending time developing powerlifting, Olympic lifting, you are by definition not niche. Like niche would be only one.
Niche would be like, I want to be the best L sitter in the world, and I'm just going to train L sits. Like that's niche.
Yes. But you want to be an Olympic level marathoner. That's niche.
Yeah, it's because again, you just but it's sports. It's not sport. It's specific if you are training in a way that is like kind of biased towards the competition side of CrossFit,
Yeah.
i.e., strength bias GPP,
Sure.
if you're doing that kind of stuff, it's sport specific to the sport of CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're like starting to split some hairs here, but it's like sport specific is also like it's not specific to weightlifting. If it was specific to weightlifting, everyone would hate their lives and no one would be able to walk because you're
Yeah.
going to be below parallel 12 times a week,
Yeah.
every week. Like it's
I know. So I mean, we can pick on these things. So like these things, I feel it's redundant. They're saying the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
Max effort every time and focus mostly on high intensity. Neither here nor there, right? Complete training. This is supposed to be different than traditional CrossFit. Okay.
Yes.
Structured, planned,
Yes.
variants and progressions. Which is
amazing.
Traditional CrossFit has always talked about. Foundational, improve all sport ability and lays foundation for all training goals.
Sounds
so
like
you mean
GPP.
non-sport specific?
Sounds like GPP.
Sounds like GPP. Intentional intensity, smart intensity. Would that be relative intensity? Intensity relative to the individual and the day's effort?
And their psychological and physiological tolerances.
Oh.
Wow.
Prioritize balance, build endurance and strength while allowing for recovery. What a novel. I've never heard of any of this. What a novel fucking concept.
Fuck, dude. Ben's onto something, man.
Oh, god damn it. and then he gets into the particulars, right?
The prescription. Hold on. This fucking the lift heavy, like whatever. It depends on your definition of lift heavy. You could dive into that for whatever. But it's like you train functional movements through a full range of motion at intentional levels of intensity 4 to 5 times a week, and you go long and slow 1 time a week. Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
That's literally like if I was programming just GPP for an affiliate and it's a 7-day whatever. Yeah. We're going long once, heavy once, mixed modal, everything else.
Fucking A right.
It's like because that's how you do it.
If you're doing heavy 3 times a week, you're probably strength biasing.
Well, so that's why I said depends on what you mean by lift heavy. Because if I program if I do like 12-9-6 of deadlifts 315, then you lift heavy. But yes, if you're doing like a strength piece, let's say 3 times per week, you are strength biased GPP.
Absolutely. And so like, the argument could be made that like what we're saying might not apply to this, but who the fuck cares? Like I've got enough evidence thus far where 6 pages in of a fucking 23-page document, I've got enough evidence thus far to know that they are very deliberately misrepresenting the CrossFit methodology in order to represent what they are calling a different methodology for their own purpose and profit.
A different methodology.
And so therefore, everything after this is like this could just be a rebrand. Fucking call it a rebrand. Like,
just be like, hey, we're rebranding.
That's, however you want to do it, but don't
act like you reinvented the wheel.
Yeah. And like, don't shit on the thing that made it possible for you to do this.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
For sure. Right. And this also, so this is fucking insane. And I want to zoom this in a little bit. Right. So
I laughed at this part too.
So, okay. So first of all, we already had this thing, right? The complete prescription is training minimums 4 to 5 times a week.
Can I just say this? This could just be a fun whatever. How many Venn diagrams are in this fucking document?
Counting.
There's been at least 7.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of Venn diagrams. Yeah. So counting is, this, right? There's this as a minimum, right? Okay, cool. We've established our minimum. Yep. Their complete methodology says 3 to 4 times a week, you're doing strength work, absolute strength. I define absolute strength as single effort strength work.
Yeah, like absolute strength is
a squat day.
Right. So like absolute strength is you're doing a strength piece. In my mind, if you're trying to develop absolute strength, you're keeping it 3 reps or less, and you're like a 90% plus for your working sets. Like that is absolute strength.
Yes. And then explosive power 1 to 3 times a week, muscular endurance 4 to 6 times a week. So if you
So
if
you're
you
doing the muscular endurance like accessory, like you're doing
maybe it is
Bulgarian split squats for 12 on each leg, or you're
I mean,
doing,
maybe it is that, but you should say
could be
that. Like,
barbell cycling. Could be
like
barbell
if
cycling if you're doing
it,
like sets at,
in a
10
Metcon or
unbroken
something like
power
that,
cleans or sure.
there's a it's so what they're doing. So I want to go through the whole thing. You know, zone two cardio 1 to 3 times, lactate threshold or VO2 max. So for those who don't speak exercise physiology, uh, long and slow, uh,
1 to 3 times.
yeah, like lung burning and
Yep.
um, uh, like sprint, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then this one, flexibility, mobility, and stability, which I
Yeah. I
static and
think what like
soft
a good
tissue
way to
stretching.
explain the last one is like aerobic is just like your long and slow. Your aerobic power is those people like my lungs hurt, like my
Yeah,
lungs hurting is the issue.
yeah,
And then anaerobic capacity is my muscles hurt is the issue. Like that's it to make it super, super simple.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they're talking about conditioning and aerobic capacity and aerobic power. So, but yeah, like there is definitely a more muscular, I mean, anaerobic sans oxygen. There's a more muscular,
Yeah.
which is also a little bit fucking frustrating because it's like, okay, so it's anaerobic capacity inside of aerobic conditioning. So, okay, anyway. But
Anyways.
anyway, so if you look at all of this,
Hmm.
I want to I want to do all of these things. First of all, you're going to have to thread a pretty fine fucking needle, right? Week in,
Yeah.
week out with structured variants, you're going to have to
So
thread a pretty fine
there,
fucking needle.
there's the only thing you have room for variance for is like just the movement patterns because if you're laying
But
out a
even not
template,
really
right?
that. If you're saying 3 to 4 times a week, you got to do absolute strength work.
Well, so right. So, but I think if they're doing it as like, let's assume they're
Yeah,
doing a strength plus Metcon model, right?
yeah,
Like that's what they're doing for their whatever. You have the strength work. So the only thing, basically, you have your template,
yeah,
right? Of like,
yeah.
because if you want the most
I
out
got
of
to check these
each
boxes.
of these 9 things, if you want the
Yeah,
most out of them, you have to have sufficient time between certain ones to make
yeah,
sure that your strength training isn't fucking up your anaerobic capacity
absolutely,
work, and
absolutely.
vice versa. Just
Yeah,
as an example, so you have it laid out over the week, and you go, okay, to have the proper gap is like Monday we're checking off these 2 boxes, and then Tuesday has to be these 2 boxes, so it
a
doesn't
different
fuck
set of
with
boxes.
so it doesn't fuck with Monday and Wednesday's boxes.
Yep.
Like it's so it's strict. Like you literally have like, and you can't move it because if I
Nope.
move my aerobic power session to Wednesday, guess
Yep.
what? Thursday is fucked, and you're not recovered from Tuesday. And it's like so if you're trying to do this, if you're trying to check these boxes that the comp train team has laid out, you are
This is a tall
literally in a,
order.
it's it would take me fucking forever to try and lay this out in a
I
number of
know.
training pieces that was appropriate for the general population, would move the needle, and would also like allow things to have some fun again, where it's not like I've done back squats every Monday for the past year. I'm fucking over
Right.
it.
Right.
So you have these really strict parameters and strict boxes that you have to stay in throughout the week, and you're looking at this template, and you're like, okay, if by looking at this template and I'm trying to program these workouts in, there's only a certain structure that each workout can be.
So
Your aerobic power metcon, I know we're getting there, but like your aerobic power metcon can only look like one structure to make that happen.
yeah.
And then within that structure, so then you lay out, okay, over the course of the week, here's the different structures are. And I'm just gonna, I know you have this pulled up, but I can't read it, but I'm gonna make it up.
Yep.
You have like, again, I'm making things up, but it's like you can have Monday is a long AMRAP, and then Tuesday is really short, high-powered intervals, and then Wednesday is just general metcon, and then Thursday is another like long, slow, whatever. So the structure can only look that way, and so
Mhm.
you have them laid out as soon as you have what boxes you needed each day. You then lay out the fucking like what the workout structures have to look like. This is what each one looks to be.
Yep.
And then based on your strength progression, which they've put as a priority, is that we're going to have a strength progression. you lay that first if that's a
Yep.
priority. If what they're saying is true and it's a priority, then you lay that first is your strength progression. Then based on that, what movement patterns do I have left to fill in these different
Exactly. Exactly.
conditioning structures
Yep.
that aren't going to fuck with the strength bit? You know, like I if we're doing a heavy, again, like absolute strength deadlift session Wednesday,
Yep.
guess what movement patterns off the table on Tuesday? Like you can't hinge. There's no kettlebell swings, no dumbbell snatches,
Mhm.
no power cleans, no power snatches, no lighter deadlifts. Like I would also go to say like no dumbbell box step ups because there goes your heckin' booty on that one. No lunges, there goes your booty on that one. So if you're gonna
Yep.
maximize that deadlift session,
Yep.
like it's insane
I know.
what needs to happen and
So
go ahead. Read me things.
so they've
30
got
minutes. Wait, a
yeah.
30-minute session?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, this is what they're trying to say. So this is an
But
example
there's
week.
multiple pieces.
I know. It's so right off the whack. Right off the whack, right? They're doing 1, 2, 3 dedicated strength oriented things or explosive power, right? Absolute strength and explosive power. Strength, absolute strength pulling, right? Then they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 conditioning pieces. Now, anyone who's done comp train knows that they bias toward conditioning, right? And it's just the way it works out, right? You do enough things in enough time domains, and it paints a picture, right? So Ben has always harped on aerobic capacity and conditioning as something that is vital, right? When I see 6 conditioning pieces in a week, I don't see variance. When I see 5 part 1, part 2 pieces in a week, I don't see variance, right? And this is the basic model. What I would consider something like this is supposed to be done by a GPP member.
This isn't basic. This is a fucking, I remember posting, this is my half-hour power where I was like, literally, what can I do in half an hour to like get stuff done? And I did like a 10-minute EMAMA burpees to warm up.
Yep.
Like on the minute for 10-minute X amount of burpees. And then did like, I think it was like a 12-minute AMRAP of bike calories and dumbbell snatches. And then, lay on the floor for the rest of the time. And there was your half hour. And it's like,
also, fuck this workout.
But I didn't have time in that, like, again, the half-hour power did not even remotely, it never would have even crossed my fucking brain membranes to attempt a strength piece and then a conditioning piece in fucking, like, what's my warm-up sets to get to what am I warming up if I'm doing, like, again, absolute strength back squats is my warm-up, like the fucking first squat with the empty bar, and then just like gotta jump to 225 because I'm in the 30-minute window here.
Yep. Now there's a lot of things that could be said about this. This is 1 week. Obviously, this is 1 week. If CompTrain does CompTrain, the worst possible thing they could do is what I have known them to do in the past, which is they keep the same format week to week, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe not. I don't know because it's 1 week.
I would be willing to bet. You have a lot more faith in them than I do.
If that's the case, right?
Yeah.
Then for a GPP person, if every Thursday is a conditioning aerobic power lactate threshold piece, and every Sunday is aerobic endurance, and they're a Thursday, Sunday, Tuesday person, like maybe that's what they got, right? They are not getting a varied program and not sufficiently varied. But it gets worse because then we go to the pros, right?
This is pro.
I know
it's a 60-minute training window, and this is considered pro.
I know it. So it's absolute strength work, conditioning, which could be aerobic power, could be muscular endurance, could be aerobic capacity, and then also accessory work. 3x20 Bulgarian split squat into 3x20 hip extensions. Hold
I'm
to
sorry,
technical failure.
3x20 Bulgarians.
Yeah. Also, this conditioning workout is horrible for time. 100 dumbbell bench press at 50 or 35, 100 shoulder to overhead at 75, 55, and then 100 hand release push-ups.
Yeah, what like so the first thing that jumped out at me at that workout that just made me irrationally angry was why are you doing the shoulder to overhead with a barbell? Like just do the whole thing with a pair of dumbbells.
Right?
Like I like it just made me so mad.
Well, so
I was like,
because
that's stupid.
yeah. And then there's 2-hour pro. Oh yeah. So you've got a major strength piece, a
What the
conditioning piece,
fuck?
and then more like
Wait,
durability.
hold on. First, so let me just something just jumped out at me just now is we've been going up in so you went from so 30 minute
Yep.
window the basic, right? 30
Yep.
minute was like two training pieces most days, two
Yep.
pieces.
Most days.
And then pro is you add a half an hour, add one training piece, right?
So actually it's you add a piece for every single day because if I go to this one,
No. So I say what I'm getting at is that like is okay, go ahead.
So you've got most pieces have 2, some have
Yep.
1. If I go to
Yes.
pro, now it's
Yes.
most pieces have 3, some have 2.
Right. So from whatever that structure is, you basically just like add a whatever the day had in the previous model, you're just adding one.
Yes.
So the elite one, the whatever was the 2 hour one.
Pro 2-hour, which is most days have 4, some have 2. You know, your recovery days will be aerobic power and then some stretching, and then aerobic endurance and some stretching.
That's aerobic power is a disgusting time frame to fucking
also
work.
Fuck this. 10 rounds, 400-meter run, 250-meter row.
Yeet.
That's 40 fucking minutes.
Yeah. It's active recovery, dude.
And so also, if your focus is aerobic endurance, why are you working aerobic power? Like, which one is it? I don't.
They don't know.
And then this, and then there's this.
The better way.
Old way. How does this methodology differ from what's available today? This would be more accurate if they said, how does this differ from what we used to do? Right?
Yep.
Program for the best and scale from the rest, which is a direct quote from CrossFit. So they're taking shots across the bow here, right?
They're taking shots.
Program the better way, program for the majority and modify accordingly.
I love how they made that rhyme as well too.
I know.
Like
that's like, hey, hats off for that.
Yeah, good on you.
Nobody cares, work harder versus that's enjoy true. The process. Yeah, sure. Like,
but you can go hand in hand. Like here's the thing.
It doesn't have to be either or.
It doesn't have to be either or. And the thing about like the nobody cares, work harder is like, again, people take things sometimes too literally.
Yeah.
It's like, because Pat Sherwood for CrossFit Linchpin, one of my favorite, I lost it at some point in a competition, but one of my favorite shirts was he has a CrossFit Linchpin shirt that says nobody cares, train harder.
I have the flag in my garage.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, nobody cares, train harder.
Yeah.
If you take that literally,
I know,
and you're like, okay, nobody cares, train harder, let's just like absolutely crush myself like every day and just like make it so like I turn into like at the end of my workout, I'm the artist formerly known as Sam. Like it's
right.
You know, but that's not what it means and what it's there for, unless you need that, you know. But more people need a firm kick in the butt than I think most people realize.
Yep.
But it's like the nobody cares, work harder, nobody cares, train harder is like it's basically just like, you know, we all have excuses.
Oh, I know.
But just like nobody cares about your excuses, so just go get to work and get it done. Like that's what that means.
Yep.
Like, you know, like again, you've got kids, you've got a job, your life schedule, your whatever, you know, like so on Monday when I did the open workout at CrossFit One Nation, I was fresh off a 24-hour shift.
Yeah.
That we were down a 24-hour truck, so we got even less sleep than is normal.
Sure.
But guess what? I signed up for the open. Mama didn't raise no bitch. whatever I had in the tank, I was
What
gonna
you
go
got.
give it an open workout. And it's
Yeah.
like, is it optimal? Is it the absolute best performance I could have gotten? Maybe not. Just because, optimal sleep or even more sleep than what I got is
Right.
a thing.
Right.
But it's like, again, that what comes down to, like, I could bitch and moan about, like, my score this and I didn't get as many reps as I probably could have because, like, I didn't sleep as much. So, like, my coordination in handing the dumbbell back and forth, or like my ability to jump over because you hear people make these types
Oh,
of
I know.
excuses.
I know.
And it's like, is it a thing that, like, could I maybe have done better and gotten a better score had I had a
Mhm.
full night's sleep and not been on an ambulance for 24 hours? Probably. Do I think that my score is a poor reflection of my fitness? No. But also, did it matter to me? No. Like, it's just, it is what it is. This is how life was. Nobody cares.
Well, and
Just get on with it.
I,
Like
I
it.
think that points to the problem with this is they're making it sound like this is what was preached as
Yeah.
opposed to these were some things that were said.
Yeah.
And
It not,
even
yeah.
then when they were said, it
There was nuance in that sucker.
there was
Like, it just,
nuance. Exactly.
yeah.
And
It's,
they're painting it like it was never there was never nuance, which is horse shit. And so this is
there's nuance in everything.
of course there's nuance. And like, CrossFit was always open about the the subtleties and nuance that were required for someone to be successful
Mm-hmm.
and fit. And you
Yep.
know, so much of this for me, it's like pointing at CrossFit, but without actually saying it. And so it's like
Yeah.
taking pot shots at the back of
Yeah.
someone's head. And if you wanna say, listen, we did things for a long time. We think that's wrong now. We should do things differently. Like keep it focused on yourself and your own transformation. Had that
Mm-hmm.
been how they come at this, I'd be like, this is the ballsiest thing I've seen anybody do in a long time.
Yep.
But it feels to me like they're pointing out there, being like, they are wrong, they are wrong, they are wrong. We figured it out,
Yeah.
you know, and with no respect really given to the fact that what they've stumbled
If you
across is probably the
if they had
closest
even
version to CrossFit that CompTrain has ever been to.
Yeah, if they had phrased things, even, whether it's like, hey, we've been doing this a long time, we feel that these changes would serve us, serve our
Mm-hmm.
community, serve our
Mm-hmm.
people better. This is how we're gonna, roll going forward.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Even if they were like, hey, this again, like pointing at CrossFit, so to say, like, this is what it used to look like for us,
Yeah.
but we feel that, even though we used to do this, whether it be like this is the workout or this is the structure, whatever, we
Yeah.
used to do this, but adding this bit or taking this bit away, whatever adjustment they see fit,
Yeah.
doing that change
Yeah.
seems to make sense for us and our community and our people.
Yes.
I still would have been okay with that. Like, hey, this is what CrossFit's doing, this is what they're about, this is what we did for a long time,
Yep.
but we feel that this tweak, this change, this adjustment works for us better.
Yes.
Okay, cool. You're not taking shots. You're not being like, hey, look at these fucking idiots over
I know
here
it.
doing CrossFit. Like, we're doing it better. They're like, hey, this is what they're doing. We're just gonna do it differently because it makes sense for us and it works for us. Like,
Well, and
all right, cool, man. Like, it's
they don't even have to point to anyone else. Like the fact that they feel the need to make it
no,
like we're different than these people. It's like
yeah,
if
we're
you
not doing what's over there.
right, like
It's
if
not
you
over.
feel that
We're not
if
doing what's
you
over there anymore.
if it's like a ad hominem attack, you're attacking the person, right? So like
Yeah,
the reason ad hominem arguments, I believe it's ad hominem arguments. I could be wrong about this, but I believe it's ad hominem arguments are where instead of attacking the issue, you attack the character of the person who's making the statement, right?
yes,
And it's a
yeah,
logical fallacy because it doesn't actually, you're not actually making a point that is more valid than or more logical or ethical than the one that is being presented by the person you're targeting. If you're just going to make ad hominem attacks and it's going to be a differentiator, it's about how you are different than someone else, that says to me that the way you're approaching it is not strong enough to stand on its own.
Yeah.
When you don't
can't
have to
defend.
do
You can't
that,
defend the way that you're going to do it,
yeah,
like on its own. So you have to take
exactly,
attacks and like chop down
absolutely,
the person next to you.
absolutely.
I want to have the tallest building, so I'm going to knock all the buildings down around me as opposed to just building the biggest building.
Or just building your version of the best building.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if complete training was
mm-hmm.
this is what we think is important. Okay, this is what we are going to focus on. Okay, cool. I'm on board. But the moment you start being like, there's fault with this, there's fault with that, there's fault with this, you're pointing your fucking finger at everything. You got 3 fucking fingers pointing back at yourself, asshole.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you how I feel. When I find myself doing that thing, it is me at my most immature, and it is me at my most undeveloped. It is not anywhere near the best version of myself. You know, and all of the people who I respect who talk about that awareness and that particular, they recognize their own tendency to do that thing. It's the same thing. Where it's like, fuck, you know, like I'm not improving myself. I'm knocking someone down. And that's not the kind of human being I want to be. And all I see right now is CompTrain being like, well, we got to tell you how shitty everyone else is just so we sound good by comparison.
Yeah. Bullshit. Yeah, seriously. Oh, it's so irrationally angry.
I don't think it's irrational. Like, I think
Not
it's
irrational.
it's
justified.
I mean, if this were England, CrossFit HQ, maybe Greg, I don't know who owns the original methodology, would have a case for libel. And in the UK, they take libel real fucking serious. And like you could like sue for millions and millions and millions of dollars in a libel case. It's a criminal thing. But that's neither here nor there. I think that this isn't the first time that Ben or CTNE Complete Training New England or CompTrain or whatever the fuck. This isn't the first time they've tried to rebrand and differentiate themselves. I don't think it will be the last.
Nope.
I think that it's frustrating and sad.
You know what would be amazing? You know what would be incredible? Or like I'd be interested to see what happens is because people right now are upset with HQ for a large host of reasons, but I think the last straw that broke the camel's back was the event with Lazar at the games this year.
Yeah, and their response to that.
Yep. So, or lack thereof. And so the internet's a wild place. People go back, forth, up, down, sideways, whatever about it. And your people are more than welcome to have their opinion. I for whatever reason. But what would be amazing is if down the road, because it definitely won't be a quick fix for HQ to gain back the trust of everyone that had trusted them, you know, up until the last few years, let's say, right? Where it's just like, nope, HQ is the way, and this is, you know, what we're doing. If they get back to that point, HQ does, they sort everything out, pull the thumb out their butt, and you know, march on forward. And CompTrain comes back. if they like reaffiliate, and they're like, hey, we're good with these guys now. They're doing the right stuff, and we're gonna get back on. But I'd be like, oh, on that day,
right?
Sam and I will be there, microphone, podcast, ready to go.
With a giant fucking billboard outside of their address in Natick, being like, "Hey, fuck sticks."
Yeah. Oh man, because as Sam said, the internet doesn't forget.
No.
So
the internet doesn't forget.
It's out there. They've gone out there. They've said their shit. They've posted all their whatever. Yeah, it would be interesting because I could honestly like see it somewhat happening again. Like if the sport of CrossFit kicks off again, like when it was like 2018. If the sport kicks off again because they sort their stuff out and it's a consistent schedule and they've made right with everybody, or like at least, you know, made what amends they can. and everyone's back on board. You know, we reach a second golden age of CrossFit type thing.
Yeah.
If we get there, I can 1,000% see CTNE becoming CFNE again, and them rocking and rolling with, you know, whether they fully announce that they're going back to CrossFit methodology or whatever, but I can 1,000% see it happening again. I feel like, I don't know. You also don't have to make a big deal of things. Like if you don't want your gym to be a CrossFit gym anymore, you can let your members know, like, hey, we're rebranding because this. You don't need to like have a post for the whole world.
But I don't know if they know how to do that, because so much of the reason that CFNE got big is because of CompTrain and Ben.
Yeah, I mean, but again, like, so when I say like,
like
if
members
know,
Katrin
like people
fucking
that subscribe to your programming.
But if Katrin Davidsdottir wasn't hanging out in the gym, like, they wouldn't have 350 members. Like, and so, like, that's sure, true. Along the way, people fell in love with their affiliate and their community. And like, I've coached there. Their trainers are really, really good at logistics and managing big classes. And they have to be, because every fucking hour is stacked. Like, it's a popular gym. But it's not like they got there without advertising the fact that it was Ben and it was Katrin. And then after that, who the fuck else? It was, you know, Amanda Barnhart and Cole and
Cole Sager, it was a Matt bunch Fraser for a bit.
Yeah, it was a bunch of people.
And so rode Matt Fraser's back for the year or so that he was, the 2 years that he was with Ben.
As long as he could.
Yeah, for the 2 years he was, Oh man.
You know, I mean, we've been yakking about this for 71 minutes at this point. I think that if you see this, don't be misled by what CompTrain is saying. If you want to go do CompTrain programming, go do CompTrain programming. I hope you do it because you like it. I hope you do it because it fits your goals. I hope
it serves you. Exactly.
Absolutely. Yes. I hope you understand that they are also trying to make money, and you don't take what they say at face value.
Well, so right now I feel like they're trying to make more money again. They're trying to like kind of bolster themselves again, and taking advantage of this time where like there's a lot of people that aren't sure how they feel about HQ right now.
Absolutely.
And people treat HQ and CrossFit as like synonymous. Like if I do CrossFit, that's supporting HQ. It's like you said before, it's like a Pilates thing. CrossFit is the methodology and the community and the affiliates. CrossFit HQ is just HQ. But like a lot of people in the community right now don't know how they feel about CrossFit and HQ.
Yeah.
And the people at CompTrain are like, can we make money off this? Like if we go and say that like, hey, we're jumping ship and fuck these guys and everything they're doing, and this is what we're doing over here, can we get a bunch of people to jump ship with us? Right. Because we're basically taking advantage of like, we're basically giving their emotions a direction to point. Like
you're taking advantage of political instability.
Exactly. So I'm positive that's what's going on here is like, you know, they're making a big deal of it and a whole like new methodology about it. And they're using all the buzzwords and whatever to try and again, steer people who either feel badly about HQ and CrossFit as a whole, or don't know how they feel. Again, it gives them a direction to go, and an avenue for them to make money.
I agree. So. I agree entirely. Well, I think that again, probably like you said, not the last time we'll end up talking about this, but always good to pick your brain and hear you rant. And for anyone who played along for all 73 minutes and 34 seconds, we appreciate you. And hopefully we get a chance to do this again sooner rather than later. And we will
hopefully be able to schedule a normal time, because I finally have a set schedule of 224. So I have a lot of days that are open, so we can we'll chat.
Yes, we will.
We'll get a regular time going.
So then stay tuned for that, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Be well, y'all. We'll talk again soon.